Can you rent out your timeshare points, your vacation club points, whether you own Marriott Vacation Club, Wyndham, whatever they call themselves now. They've changed the name like 5 times. Travel and Leisure, Wyndham, Worldmark also. Let's see, Hyatt, Hilton. Most timeshare companies have went to point systems. So I get asked a lot, can you rent out your points? And the answer is yes and no. So it just depends. Let's see, what would be your best strategy? So say you have bought in this timeshare and now you have extra points to be able to use, but you can't go on vacation for whatever reason, or you can just move to Tennessee. Everybody drives like they're in NASCAR. Apparently they're all NASCAR drivers. So your basic plan would be, you kind of got to strategize usually beforehand, because if you're like coming to the end of the year, you got a real problem. Like I'm filming this in November, and of course we rent out timeshare points and everybody's contacting us now saying, hey, I got all of these points we need to rent out. And well, the thing of it is, like all the good dates at most of these timeshare companies are usually sold out like 10 months to a year in advance, especially like New Year's, Christmas, Hawaii, you know, Aruba in the winter time, things like that. Those are all booked out like 10 to 12 months. So what would be your best strategy? Like, let's say you own like a Worldmark or a Wyndham, right? And you have 200,000 points left, or if you're Worldmark and you have like 8,000 points left. So, and you only have like a couple months left or whatever. What your best strategy would be is try to look at the map and see what are the best resorts you have access to that you can book stuff, that you can pretty much, and I mean, they put all those resorts in, you know, high destination areas. So you're not going to really have a bad option. So you can really pick any of them, and then just pick it for when the kids are out of school or for a major holiday, because that seems to be when most people have time off, and that's when they travel, especially like weekends and stuff are more popular. That's why it's always costs more on the weekends. So what you'd want to do, like, I guess we use Worldmark, Wyndham for an example, right? So pick like Oceanside, or not, yeah, like Oceanside, San Diego, or they have like a really nice resort in Anaheim. So if you go online and you go into your Worldmark or Wyndham account and you go, oh, I want to book 3 nights for Christmas, it's not going to be available. I mean, 99% chance it won't be available. So get on the waiting list. Some of them have it online. Like Worldmark definitely has the waiting list online. Marriott, you have to go on chat or call them. They get on the waiting list. The Wyndham account, I haven't been on there in a while. I don't know if you can get on the waiting list on Wyndham. And Hilton, Hyatt, I don't own those, so I don't know. But they all work the same. Either call them or get on their chat feature and ask them to put you on the waiting list. Because every resort, no matter what the company, has like I think it's like a 20-something% cancellation. And I see that in our business too when we rent stuff out. You know, 20% of people cancel. You know, the dog gets sick, you got health problems, money problems, whatever. People always cancel. So one of the hard things though of renting out your points or your timeshares is the cancellation policy, because people do cancel a lot. So a lot of times if you do find a renter, you have to make sure you either have like no cancellation policy where you list it, or you have like a pretty strict cancellation policy. Because like I know with Wyndham and like Holiday Inn, we do, like, if you cancel them like 60 days or less, you lose half the points no matter what. I could be wrong on the Wyndham one, but it's something like that. They all kind of blend together after a while. But anyways, so you got to be very mindful of your cancellation policy with your resort. So before you put it up for rent or whatever, wherever you're going to do it, just make sure the reservation that you book is, you know what the cancellation policy is. Now, if it's like coming towards the end of the year and you're like, well, I'm going to lose the points anyways, then you know, just go with it. Because some of them like will let you deposit your points with interval or RCI down to like the last day of the year. So if you have that option, so get on the waiting list for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Actually, some of them will tie up your points so you can't get on the waiting list for multiples. But like, I know with Worldmark, you might be able to. I think you can give them different options. Like you can say, put me on the waiting list for, you know, Anaheim, Oceanside, and Pismo Beach or whatever. And then so you can have the waiting list go at any of those 3 properties for say like 3 nights. And, you know, always try to do the weekends if possible, because that's going to be your most likely opportunity to rent that out, is to have peak dates that people want. Holidays, weekends, special events like what's that thing in Palm Springs, the Coachella Festival. You know, you got football games, NASCAR events, stuff like that. Ironmans in Hawaii, Christmas time, things of that nature. So you want to try to get special events whenever possible, because then it really increases your rate of being able to rent it out. Okay, so first thing is, if you're not going to do it as like, if you only have like a week or 2 weeks worth of points to rent out, that would be your best bet, is to book a good reservation first off. This is if you want to make money or make like more than your maintenance fees. If you don't want to rent for more than your maintenance fees, then you might just put an ad in the Facebook marketplace, you know, offering it to rent for the cost of your maintenance fees, like $100 a night or something like that. That could work too. And then just, but then here's the thing, like say you just list it, hey, you want to rent this resort that I own at, people are invariably, not that bright. I think I got 2 credits in junior college. I think it's 6 credits, because I did get credit for football. So, you know, I got that going for me. Anyway, so you gotta think about it, because like a lot of resorts, unless you own like Marriott, most of the other resorts are just like almost impossible to get reservations at within 90 days of check-in. And especially for anything major, which is when most people who don't own timeshares want to go, is during major events or weekends or holidays, because that's when most people have the time off. So you got to, excuse me, you got to be careful when you list it for just, if you just list the resort but no dates available, because people are going to ask for stuff that probably isn't available, and you're going to be wasting a lot of time going back and forth and doing that. Trust me, it's our business, I know. So even when your calendar shows blocked, people will still message you and say, hey, I want these dates. And like, well, that's why the calendar's blocked out, but I digress. So, okay, so first thing is book like a good reservation. If you can't get a good reservation, or let's see, if you can't get a good reservation, then you're gonna have to try to just book like some random weekend before there and hope for the best, or book some random dates. But ideally in the future, your rental strategy should be call, like this year, like it's November now, so call and book next Thanksgiving at one of the resorts, because you can always cancel that reservation down to like 30 days before check-in or whatever. And then in the future, if you come on this problem, you already have the good reservation booked. And then you can either, and then if you decide you want to use it, well, you just cancel that and use it for somewhere else. But if you can't use it, you know, well, I already have it booked for, you know, Hawaii over Christmas time, which is gonna rent really good. Okay, so those are kind of your options. I hope that makes sense. It's a little difficult to try to just rent some random points you have left over 2 months before the end of the year. Because trust me, we have a way to do it. Like you can rent your points through us. That's what my company does. We don't pay you, you know, it's not that much more than your maintenance, if any, depends on which developer you own with. But it's pretty much guaranteed, and it's way more than you would get turning it in for a cruise or an airline ticket or anything besides room with your developer, because they actually give you probably 30-40% less than your maintenance fees in value if you actually calculate it out. So those aren't the greatest deal. So a lot of people use our company because at least we give them their maintenance fees, if not more. Depends on which company. Sometimes we're able to pay more. Just depends on how much those companies rent them out for online. But Anyway, so we have a system, and then we have all of their resorts listed. So we have way more opportunities. Okay, so once you get that reservation, okay, now where do you go? Well, you can go to places like the Facebook Marketplace is a good one right now, because I don't think it really costs you any money to list it on there. So you would go to whatever area you booked at. So say you booked it in Hawaii, in Maui or whatever, go to the Maui Facebook Marketplace and post it there. You could post it on Craigslist. Craigslist is free. People still use Craigslist a lot. Put it under the vacation rental section. You can use redweek.com is usually pretty good. The only thing with redweek.com is the only people that really know about it are other timeshare owners. So they're always looking for a deal. So don't get surprised when people try to, you know, if you have it listed for $300 a night, most people probably offer you like $200 a night, because, you know, all of us timeshare owners are fairly cheap, you know. I mean, not cheap, we're good with money. So we're always looking for a deal, hence how they got you to buy in the first place, to get your $100 gift card. So, and then you spend 30 grand. And the first question you ask when you buy is, hey, what about those show tickets or the gift card? Which always cracked me up. Somebody spent 60 grand and but most people that own it have money because they can afford it, because they're smart with money. So, but anyways, it's just a more limited market on Red Week. But if you have, but those people already know about timeshares. They already know they're a good deal. They already know they're getting it from you for better than if they went to the resort directly. So they are willing to pay. But don't be surprised if people offer you a lot less than what you're wanting. Okay, so book it, try to book it. You can use Airbnb, but they're so big and they get so many people to respond that if you have it pre-booked, then I would definitely, hey buddy, then I would definitely put it on the, where's my neighbor? Put it on the, you could put it on Airbnb as well. It's a good one. But put it on, make sure you have the minimum number of nights selected, because a lot of people only book like 1 or 2 nights. I mean, we do 10 or 15,000 transactions a year, and I think our average is like 1.6 nights per reservation. Because a lot of people don't have a lot of money to travel. Only timeshare owners seem to be able to go for an entire week because they paid up front, which is the smart way to use it. Obviously, the best way to use your timeshare is to use it at the resorts or trade into the higher resorts. But most other people only travel for like 1 to 3 nights at a time. It appears to me, from doing this for like 6 years. So just be aware of that if you post it on like Airbnb or VRBO or wherever. And a lot of times they'll take your ads down too, because all these city governments want their fill of the pie now. So like if you try to list your Hawaii week on Airbnb, a lot of times it'll just get taken down because you don't have the short-term rental license thing. That's only in Hawaii, $1,000 for the first year, even if it's a timeshare, and then $2,000 a year, like every year after that or something. Plus you have to charge like a 13 or 15% occupancy tax or transitory tax, however they call it, on above what you're asking for. So just be careful on things like that with licenses. Hawaii's really bad. Southern California is kind of bad. And probably New York, I'm assuming is probably pretty bad. But yeah, like some of them we don't even have listed because they'll take them down for not having the proper license. So just be careful of that part as well. But all the timeshare resorts in your group are good. So just make sure you're either getting a holiday or a weekend. Then once you have that, try to, as quickly as possible, post it on either the Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or Red Week is good. I think they're like 25 bucks. Oh, or the timeshare users group. You can get there's a website that I always refer people to, the timeshare users group. It's like a market. They have a marketplace where you can exchange with other timeshare owners. But there again, you're only getting other timeshare people, so they're looking for a deal. Let's walk through this. So So there's that. Let's see what else. So then, and then you have to figure out how to collect payment. So if you use the bigger sites like Airbnb, I don't know how VRBO works if you don't have a business account, because we collect the money through our credit card processor. So I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm not sure if you have to have a professional management. I don't think you do, but there's got to be a way you can do it, like accept a PayPal payment or a Stripe payment or something. You can set up a Stripe account for free to process their credit card. I'm sure they'll walk you through it in the instructions. So you set up a Stripe account. Let's see, or you can have them pay you through PayPal. So if you post it on Facebook or Craigslist or whatever, and they're like, hey, I want to rent it from you, then you can send them an invoice through PayPal, or have them send you the money, friends and family, or have them send you half of the money, friends and family, and then you send them the reservation, and then they send you the other half, because ultimately you're always in control of the reservation because it's in your account. So those are some ways to get paid. You can use on Red Week, they have this thing, like I think it's First American Title, where they'll put the money into escrow. You each pay like $50 or $100. I think it's like 50 or 75. And then you pay half, he pays half, and then they keep the money into escrow, and then they release the money. So you can get paid through PayPal, Stripe. What else could you use now? Bitcoin. You can take Bitcoin. I would take Bitcoin if I was you. So listed on there. That's really about all your options, but your best option in the future, always make sure you book a good time ahead of time, because you can always cancel it. Know that most places are booked out for major holidays, which are the easiest to rent. And if you rent non-holidays, you're gonna have to charge a lower price, because a lot of these timeshare resorts, when you turn your points in for cruises, the way they make money back off of it is renting it out online. And they usually rent it out online for about the same cost of your maintenance most of the time. So that's why they give you less value for your points when you go on a cruise or stuff, because they need to make the money difference as their profit margin. So they there's that. There's my wife with the dog. So. Oh, she got Starbucks. Okay. All right. I think that's enough on how to rate your timeshare points. So I got a coffee, and maybe she'll give me a ride home. But and then if you don't want to do any of this, I'll meet you at the house. Okay, thank you. Love you. You don't want to handle any of this or go through all that, or if you don't have very many points, you can contact us, support@timesharesimplified.com, or our website, timesharesimplified.com. Or if you want these processes, I wrote a book, Timeshare Tips and Tricks, Tony Avitia. You can get it on Amazon. Forgive my grammar, because I pay attention in English class, but the editor made me sound kind of like I knew what I was talking about. Anyways, pretty easy. Like I said, I got 2 credits in junior college. I figured it out. You're not going to get rich renting out your timeshare. And the best strategy, though, is to set up a little LLC. Technically, you can rent out now. I'm not an accountant, yada, yada, all that. I'm not a financial advisor. But set up an LLC, and then you can take your home office deduction. Then you can write off some of your maintenance costs that way if you use your timeshare rental as a rental business. And anybody who pays taxes, if you make more than $60,000 a year, you should always have a business set up on the side. There's no rule in the IRS code on how much money you have to make. You can actually show a loss for 5 or 7 years. Obviously get with your accountant on that. Actually, I'm gonna walk back so all the ice doesn't melt my coffee. Okay, so set up an LLC. You can go to like incorporate.com, and you can set up an LLC. If you live in California, I probably wouldn't do a California one because they charge like $1,000 a year minimum. You can do like a Wyoming corporation for like $200. The Nevada ones are starting to get a little more expensive. They're probably like $500 a year. But you can just take so many deductions. It's incredible. Like if you have a room in your home with a computer, you can consider that an office, and you can write off like the square footage. So say it takes up, 15 to 20% of your house. Well, if you have a $3,000 a month mortgage or more, so that's $36,000 a year. So you could write off 20% of that. So what would that be? $9,000 deduction a year just for having the business set up. Now, a deduction, you determine the cash value of that by your tax bracket. So say you're roughly, if you made over 60, 70 grand a year, you're roughly in the like 28% tax bracket. So we'll do 30%. So that's like $3,000 back at tax time for having a home office set up for your business. And say you only rent out 5 to 10 nights a year. Well, your business only made $4,000. So you don't get taxed on that because that's not enough money. If you don't want to mess with any of that, the IRS lets you rent out. I just looked this up the other day just to make sure. 14 days tax-free still, where you don't have to report it to the IRS, even if you don't want to set up an LLC or any of that. But if you make over 60 grand a year, you got to set up a business on the side. It helps tremendously because you can take all those losses from that corporation, pass it to your personal income, and it'll lower your tax bill by thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's all perfectly legal. There's a great book, Lower Your Taxes by Sandy Botkin, I've talked about in my other videos. He goes through how to do it legally to make sure you're not getting in trouble. You know, obviously you don't want to, you're not trying to do anything illegal. It's just, there's 50,000 pages of the tax code. So just use them to your advantage. You're not required to pay any more than you have to. So just be smart with your strategy. All right. I think that's it. So yeah, that's the best way. Set up an LLC. Then you can, then if you're renting it out, then you can actually, see, Tennessee drivers, what's up with that? Then you can write off your maintenance costs that way. You can depreciate what you paid for the timeshares, especially if they're deeded. Just do not go to H&R Block and have them do this. Go pay for a CPA. I think my guy's like $300 for a business tax return, which is totally worth it because look on that one home office deduction. Plus then you can write off like most, you know, like 20% of your phone bill, 20% of your power bill, 20% of your, so say your power bill's $500 a month, $400 a month. When I was in Vegas, it was like $1,200 a month. So that's another $5,000 a year times 20%. So it's another $1,500 back. That's $500 back in your pocket. There's 20% of your gas bill, 20% of your trash bill, 20% of your phone bill. You start adding all that stuff up, you can take like $15,000 to $30,000 a year in tax deductions, which gives you $5,000 to $10,000 back in actual cash value. And so if you haven't been getting refunds in the past, that'll help you get a refund. Boom. Not a tax advice person. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it is legal. Ask somebody smarter than me. Ask a good CPA. All right, sweet. I think that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to help you. If you don't want to do any of this, please contact us, and we will help get you through your points. We'll send you out a contract. Once we accept your contract, if it's not 3 weeks before the end of the year like it is now, we'll pay you up front for your points for a small amount of them. If you have a huge number, we'll just pay them in sections. That way you're paid up front before anybody checks in. There's no cost to you. All we do is send you money, either check or PayPal, whatever you select on the contract. And then we can do it on any year you want. And we can usually do any number of points, big or small, unless they're like, you know, obviously like ridiculously small where you can't buy one night. But other than that, we can take care of it. All right. Have a great day, people. God bless.